Hey, can you hear me? Ma'am? Of course.
Help me.
What? What? No, 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 stay awake.
By the time Noah Bennett reached her, the young woman had stopped trying to stand. One knee was folded beneath her on the sidewalk. Her other leg stretched toward the curb, the heel of a white sneaker resting in rainwater, gathered beside a storm drain. A small leather purse lay 3 feet away. One of its straps had twisted around the base of a parking meter. Noah dropped the paper bag he was carrying. 2 oranges rolled into the street. "Hey!" The woman lifted her head perhaps an inch. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes found him but did not seem to settle there. Noah glanced along the block. Closed florist. Laundromat. A pharmacy with metal shutters already pulled halfway down. Traffic moved at the far intersection, but nobody was close enough to notice. He crouched without touching her. "Ma'am?" Her fingers scraped once across the pavement. There was no blood, no obvious injury. She looked about his age, maybe 24 or 25. Dark hair had stuck to one side of her face. She wore grey slacks, a cream blouse and a thin gold bracelet that did not belong on this part of North Philadelphia after sunset. Noah reached for his phone. The screen stayed black. He pressed the side button again. Nothing. Of course. The woman's lips moved. No sound came out. He leaned closer. What? Her hand caught his sleeve with surprising strength. For half a second, her eyes sharpened. "Help me!" Then her fingers opened. Her head dropped against his arm. Noah froze. "No, no, no, no. Stay awake." He tapped her cheek lightly. Nothing. He looked toward the intersection again and saw a city bus pass without stopping. The woman's purse remained beside the meter. Noah grabbed it, slung it over his shoulder and hooked one arm behind her knees. She was lighter than he expected. That frightened him more. His truck was parked around the corner, an 11-year-old Ford Ranger with a cracked passenger mirror and 3 bags of drywall screws behind the seat. Noah carried her to it, nearly slipping once on the wet curb. He laid her across the passenger seat. Her head rolled toward the window. "Sorry." He pulled the seatbelt across her because it felt wrong not to. Then he climbed behind the wheel and drove. At the first red light, he tried his phone again. Dead. The woman made a faint sound beside him. He turned. "Stay with me?" Her eyelids fluttered. "What's your name?" No answer. "Can you tell me what happened?" Her breathing changed. Noah glanced at the light, still red. "Hey, look at me." She opened her eyes. For a second, he thought she was going to speak. Instead, she stared past him at the dashboard clock. 7:42. Her hand moved toward her purse, then fell. The light turned green. Noah drove through.
Before we dive into the story, if you love great and interesting stories, give a like, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload.
At Jefferson Methodist's emergency entrance, he stopped in the ambulance lane and leaned on the horn until an orderly came through the sliding doors. "What are you doing?" She collapsed. "Sir, you can't park." "She's not waking up." The orderly looked inside. Everything changed. A wheelchair became a stretcher. A nurse appeared, then another. Noah stepped backward while they lifted the woman out. "What happened?" "I don't know." "You know her?" "No." "What did she take?" "I don't know." "Was she drinking?" "I don't know." "Did she hit her head?" "I found her on the sidewalk." A nurse paused. "Found her?" "Yeah." "Where?" Noah pointed uselessly toward the street. "About 12 blocks north, near Dickinson." The nurse looked at the purse still hanging from his shoulder. Noah noticed it at the same moment she did. He took it off immediately. "This is hers." She accepted it without comment. "Wait here." The doors closed around the stretcher. Noah stood beneath fluorescent light with rain drying across the shoulders of his work jacket. Only then did he remember the oranges in the street. A security officer directed him to registration. A woman behind the desk slid him a clipboard. "Patient's name?" "I don't know." She looked up. "You brought her." "I found her." "You don't know her name?" "No." The woman pressed her lips together, not suspicious exactly, but careful now. "Your name?" "Noah Bennett." "Date of birth?" He gave it. "Address?" He gave that too. 20 minutes passed. Then 40. Someone found identification in the woman's purse. Her name was Ava Langford. The name meant nothing to Noah. It meant something to everyone else. The receptionist's posture changed after she searched it. 2 security officers appeared near the vending machines. A nurse whispered to a doctor. Noah sat in a molded plastic chair holding a dead phone between both hands. At 9:18, the main doors opened hard enough to strike their stops. A tall man in a charcoal overcoat entered first. He moved quickly without appearing rushed. Grey touched the sides of his hair. A younger man in a suit followed, speaking into a phone. A woman came behind them wearing cream trousers and a navy sweater beneath a raincoat she had not buttoned. Ava? The receptionist stood. Mr. Langford. Where is my daughter? Noah looked up. The man did not notice him. She's being treated. The physician will speak with you. What happened? We're still assessing her. The woman gripped the counter. Is she awake? Not at the moment. The man turned toward the security officers. Who brought her? One officer glanced across the waiting room. That was all it took. The man looked at Noah. Noah stood because remaining seated suddenly felt insulting. The woman's eyes moved over his work boots, damp jacket, rough hands. You. I found her. Where? On the sidewalk. Which sidewalk? Near Dickinson Street. The father walked closer. How did she get there? I don't know. What were you doing with her? Nothing. A strange stillness came over the man, not calm. Containment. Noah had seen the same thing in Foreman before somebody got fired. The mother stepped forward. You said you found her. Yes. Just lying there. Yes, ma'am. And nobody else was around. No. Her mouth tightened. The father looked at Noah's hands. There was dried blood across one knuckle. Noah followed his eyes. It's mine. How convenient. Noah blinked. I cut it at work. Where is her phone? I don't know. Her watch? I don't know. Daniel. The mother touched her husband's arm. She didn't have either when they checked her belongings, Daniel Langford said. Noah looked toward the nurse. I gave them everything she had. The father took one more step. You expect me to believe you happened to find my daughter unconscious, with 2 expensive items missing, and decided to be helpful. I expect you to believe I brought her here. Daniel's eyes changed. The mother caught it before Noah did. Please, she said quietly. The suited man who had entered behind them finished his call. He approached Daniel and spoke near his ear. Noah heard only 3 words. Police are coming. He almost laughed because the alternative was worse. Good, Noah said. Daniel turned. What? I said good. They should come. I'll tell them what happened. You think that helps you? It should if somebody listens. The emergency doors opened. A physician approached Ava's parents. Daniel forgot Noah immediately. Mr. and Mrs. Langford? Yes? Your daughter is stable for the moment. The mother's knees softened. Daniel caught her elbow. What happened to her? We're running tests. She arrived severely hypertensive and altered. There are a few possibilities. Drugs? We don't know yet. Was she attacked? We don't know. Daniel glanced toward Noah. The physician noticed. I do want to be clear about one thing. Getting her here quickly was important. Daniel said nothing. The physician continued. Whoever brought her in probably shortened the time before treatment considerably. Noah looked at the floor. The mother did not. For one brief second, something shifted in her face. Then a police officer walked through the entrance. The shift disappeared. Detective Laura Ruiz arrived 40 minutes later, wearing a dark green coat and carrying a paper coffee she never drank. She asked Noah the same questions 3 different ways. Where had he first seen Ava? Why had he been on that street? Why had he not called 911? Why had he put Ava in his vehicle? Why had he touched her purse? Why was there blood on his knuckle? Noah answered everyone. He had finished a repair job at a row house. He was walking to buy groceries. His phone battery had died. There had been nobody else nearby. The hospital was less than 10 minutes away. He had taken the purse because leaving it on the street seemed stupid. The blood came from installing metal corner bead that afternoon. Ruiz watched him while he spoke. What did you buy? What? At the grocery store. I didn't get there. What were you going to buy? Milk, eggs, oranges. Daniel Langford stood on the other side of the waiting room. His head came up at that. Noah rubbed his forehead. I dropped the oranges. Ruiz wrote something down. Any reason somebody might say you knew Miss Langford before tonight? I didn't. You recognize the family? No. Daniel gave a humorless sound. Ruiz glanced at him. Mr. Langford. Daniel spread his hands. Ruiz turned back to Noah. You work where? Bennett Custom Interiors. Your company? My uncle's. Full time? Most weeks. Any arrests? No. Any criminal record? No. Daniel spoke again. Check harder. Ruiz shut her notebook. Mr. Langford, I'm going to ask you one more time. You're asking the wrong person one more time. My daughter vanished at 4:30 this afternoon. The mother looked at him. Daniel continued. Her driver waited outside the Pendry until 5:10. She never came out. Her phone stopped transmitting. Security footage shows her leaving through a service corridor. Ruiz's expression sharpened. You didn't mention the service corridor. I'm mentioning it now. Why was she using it? We don't know. Daniel looked at Noah. Maybe he does. I don't, Noah said. You keep saying that. Because you keep asking me things I don't know. The mother moved between them before either man noticed she had. Her name, Noah had learned, was Evelyn. She looked tired now. Smaller, somehow. Daniel. He stepped back. Not because Noah had convinced him, because she had asked. Ruiz interviewed Noah for another hour. Then 2 uniformed officers took him downstairs.
Before we continue with the story, if you love great and interesting stories like this, give a like to the video, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Stick around till the very end and let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you were in that situation?
At first, he assumed they were moving somewhere quieter. At the elevator, Ruiz stopped. Noah. He turned. She looked uncomfortable, which scared him. What? There's been a development. Daniel stood 20 feet away with the suited man. What development? Ruiz lowered her voice. Miss Langford's missing watch has been located. That's good. In your truck. For several seconds, Noah did not understand the words. Then he actually smiled. It was involuntary. No. Ruiz watched him. No. It wasn't there. You're sure? Yes. Officers found a gold Cartier watch beneath your passenger seat. Noah looked toward Daniel. Daniel did not smile. That would have been easier. He simply looked confirmed, like a calculation had finally balanced. You searched my truck. We obtained consent from the registered owner. My uncle. Yes. Noah turned back to Ruiz. I didn't take her watch. It's in the truck. I'm telling you it wasn't. Were you alone with her? Yes, but... Did anyone else enter the vehicle? No. Ruiz's voice stayed even. We're going to continue this downtown. Evelyn had come closer. She heard enough. Her hand went to her mouth. Daniel looked at the officers. Do it. Noah stared at him. Daniel Langford owned Langford Meridian Systems, a logistics and data infrastructure company whose name covered office towers, shipping containers, and, as Noah learnt later from a guard, half the new warehouses along the Delaware. That night, he owned something smaller too. The room. When Daniel spoke, administrators returned calls. Attorneys arrived. Detectives received information quickly. A deputy commissioner called the precinct while Noah was still being booked. Nobody told Noah to confess. Nobody had to. Influence did not always kick a door down. Sometimes it simply held the elevator. By morning, Noah sat behind scratched plexiglass with a public defender named Mel Warren, who had slept less than he had. Mel slid photographs across the table, the watch beneath Noah's passenger seat, Ava's purse, the sidewalk. Noah stared at the watch. I never saw that. Police say it belongs to her. It probably does. That answer isn't helping. I don't know what answer you want. The true one. I'm giving you the true one. Mel rubbed his eyes. Her phone is still missing. I never saw her phone. Hospital tox screen found a sedative. Noah stopped. What? A benzodiazepine. Not necessarily illegal. Could be prescribed. Was it? We don't know yet. So somebody drugged her. Maybe. Maybe she took something herself. Don't build a story before we have one. Noah pushed the photographs back. I carried her into my truck. Her purse was open when I picked it up. Maybe the watch fell out. Possible. It fell under the seat. Possible. So why am I here? Mel looked at him for a moment. Because possible is not the same as convincing. Noah leaned back. From the next room came the metallic bang of a holding cell door. My uncle's going to lose the contract. What contract? Centre City condo renovation. I was supposed to finish the punch list Monday. Mel looked at him as if he had misheard. That's what you're worried about. No, but it was easier to say that than anything else. Noah spent the next 3 nights at Curran from Hold Correctional Facility, awaiting a bail review that kept moving. The first night he did not sleep. The second, he slept through breakfast. By the third, he had learned that the vent above his bunk rattled every 11 minutes when the heating system cycled. He counted, because there was nothing else to control. Mel visited once. No charges related to assault yet. Yet? Don't do that. Do what? Turn every sentence into a bad news contest. Noah picked at a loose thread on his county-issued shirt. Is she awake? Mel hesitated. No. That was the part Noah had not expected. He had imagined Ava opening her eyes within hours and saying something simple enough to release him. No, he didn't hurt me. I've never seen him before. He helped me. Each morning without those words made the story around him harder. A wealthy woman disappeared. A working-class stranger found her. Her expensive watch appeared under his seat. A sedative appeared in her bloodstream. By the 4th day, Noah understood why strangers online had already decided what happened. Stories preferred clean shapes. On the 5th morning, Ava Langford opened her eyes.
Before we continue with the story, if you love great and interesting stories like this, give a like to the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Stick around till the very end and let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you were in that situation?
Evelyn was asleep in the chair beside the bed with one shoe off. Daniel sat by the window answering emails on his phone. The brightness turned low. Ava looked at the ceiling. Her mouth felt packed with cotton. Something beeped near her shoulder. She moved her hand. Evelyn woke immediately. Ava? Daniel's phone dropped to his lap. Ava? Evelyn leaned over the bed. Sweetheart, can you hear me? Ava frowned. Her gaze moved slowly from her mother to her father, then to the door. Her lips parted. Evelyn bent closer. What is it? Ava swallowed. Where? Her voice broke. Daniel pressed the call button. Don't talk yet. Ava shook her head. Where is the boy? Daniel went still. Evelyn looked at him. What boy? The boy. Ava closed her eyes, searching. He brought me. Daniel stood so quickly his chair scraped the wall. Ava, listen to me. Did he hurt you? Her eyes opened. What? The man who found you. He didn't find me. Daniel's face tightened. What do you mean? Ava looked confused. He saved me. The physician arrived before Daniel could ask another question. So did a nurse. Then Ruiz. For the next hour, the room filled and emptied in pieces. Ava could remember leaving the hotel. She could remember walking 2 blocks. She could remember becoming dizzy. She remembered trying to call somebody. She remembered seeing a dark pickup. Then Noah's face above her, nothing else, until the hospital. Ruiz asked about the watch. Ava frowned. My watch? It was found in Mr. Bennett's vehicle. Ava touched her bare wrist. I gave it to someone. Daniel stepped forward. To who? Ava looked at him. You know who? Daniel's eyes changed. Evelyn saw it. So did Ruiz. Ava, Ruiz said. I don't know who. Ava turned her face toward the window. Daniel spoke carefully. This isn't the time. Ava gave a small laugh that turned into a cough. Evelyn handed her water. Daniel. He looked at his wife. She had not called him that way in years. Not loudly, just flat. The room cleared until only Ruiz and Ava's parents remained. Ava kept both hands around the paper cup. I met Julian. Daniel closed his eyes. Evelyn sat. Ruiz waited. Ava continued. He asked me to meet him at the hotel because he said Dad had people watching his apartment. That is not what I said. Ava looked at Daniel. I didn't say you said it. Ruiz wrote something down. Who is Julian? Daniel answered before Ava could. A former employee. Ava looked away. His name is Julian Cross. He was a systems engineer at Langford Meridian. Was? Daniel's voice hardened. He was terminated. He resigned. He was going to be terminated. Same thing to you. Ava. Ruiz raised one hand. Let her speak. Daniel looked at her as though people rarely told him that. Ava's fingers tightened around the cup. Julian found something in one of the freight routing audits. He thought people were falsifying delivery timestamps to hide losses. Daniel's expression did not move. Ruiz asked, And you were helping him? I was trying to understand whether he was right. Why you? Ava looked at her father. Because people send me things when they think he won't listen. Daniel stared at the floor. What happened at the hotel? Ruiz asked. Julian gave me a flash drive. Daniel's head came up. Ava ignored him. He was scared. I told him to stop acting like somebody was following us. We argued. What was on the drive? I don't know. I never opened it. Where is it? Ava looked at her purse on the counter. It was in there. Ruiz opened the purse. Nothing. Why did you leave through the service corridor? Julian didn't want cameras. Daniel let out a sharp breath. Ava looked at him. Yes, I know. Very dramatic. Then what? I walked. Where was your driver? I told him I was staying. You didn't. I know. The paper cup crumpled slightly beneath her fingers. About 2 blocks away, I started feeling strange. Had you eaten? Yes. Alcohol? 1 glass of wine? Medication? No. Did Julian give you anything? No. Could he have put something in your drink? Ava's eyes shifted. I don't know. Daniel spoke. He did? Ruiz looked at him. You don't know that? I know what he's capable of. Ava stared at her father. You said you barely knew him. Daniel said nothing. Evelyn noticed. Ava, Ruiz said, why did you give Julian your watch? Ava looked down at her wrist again. His phone was dead. He wanted something he could sell quickly. Daniel actually laughed once. Of course. He hadn't been paid his final severance. He violated his employment agreement. He had $40. And he took a $12,000 watch from my daughter. I gave it to him. Ruiz looked from one to the other. Then how did the watch end up in Noah Bennett's truck? Nobody answered. Ava's face changed. Who? The man who brought you here. Noah. Ruiz nodded. He's been held since the night you arrived. The cup slipped from Ava's hands. Water spread across the blanket. What? Evelyn reached for towels. Daniel did not move. Ava stared at him. You arrested him? The police arrested him. You told them to. I told them what we knew. You knew nothing. We knew he had your watch. Ava looked at Ruiz. He didn't. Ruiz said nothing. He didn't have it. It was found beneath his passenger seat. That's impossible. Daniel leaned forward. Ava, you were unconscious. I remember him putting me in the truck. You remember pieces? I remember the watch was gone before that. Ruiz's pen stopped. Ava pointed at her father. Julian had it before I left the hotel. Daniel's mouth opened. Nothing came out. The investigation changed shape before lunch. Julian Cross had not vanished. He had checked into a cheap motel near Baltimore and called an attorney after seeing news reports about Ava. He admitted meeting her, admitted taking the watch, denied drugging her. Then he produced a pawn shop receipt. The timestamp was 6:11 p.m., more than an hour before Noah found Ava. The shop's surveillance footage showed Julian placing the watch on the counter. At 6:32, the pawn shop owner rejected it after the serial number triggered a high-value verification requirement. Julian left with the watch. At 7:03, another camera caught him outside a SEPTA station, handing something to a man later identified as a private security contractor employed by Langford Meridian. That contractor had been sent by Daniel's chief of staff to locate Ava. He found Julian before he found Ava. He recovered the watch. And sometime between 7:58 and 8:17 p.m., while police and hospital staff were occupied, that same contractor had been seen on hospital security footage walking through the ambulance lot, past Noah's truck. Daniel watched the footage in a conference room at the hospital. Evelyn stood behind him. Ruiz paused the image. The contractor's hand disappeared briefly through Noah's half-open passenger window. Daniel's face lost color. Evelyn stared at the screen. You sent him. I sent him to find her. You sent him. Daniel turned. I did not tell him to plant anything. No? No. Then why would he? Daniel did not answer. Ruiz did, because he believed Mr. Bennett was a threat, and because your staff made it clear that finding someone responsible was a priority. Daniel looked at her. That is not an instruction to fabricate evidence. Ruiz's expression remained flat. No, but powerful people don't always have to finish the sentence. Evelyn sat down. Daniel remained standing. The sedative had another explanation. Ava's blood panel showed traces consistent with alprazolam. Her hotel glass, recovered from the private meeting room, showed the same substance. Julian denied placing it there. Security footage eventually revealed a catering employee setting down 2 drinks at the wrong end of the table. One had been intended for another guest in an adjacent event suite, whose prescribed medication had been crushed into wine because he had difficulty swallowing tablets. A stupid mistake. Ordinary. Nearly fatal when combined with Ava's low blood pressure and an empty stomach after she had barely touched lunch. The catering employee cried through her entire interview. There was no mastermind, no calculated poisoning, no abduction. Just one woman making a secret meeting, one frightened former employee, one misplaced drink, one father whose panic required an enemy, and one stranger who happened to arrive before the wrong story hardened completely. Noah was released that evening.
Before we continue with the story, if you love great and interesting stories like this, give a like to the video, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Stick around till the very end and let me know in the comments, what would you have done if you were in that situation?
The guard returned his belt and shoelaces in a clear plastic bag. Mel waited beyond processing. You're officially a free man. Noah tied one shoe. Officially. Mel handed him his wallet. Your uncle's outside. Noah put the wallet in his pocket. Any photographers? A few. Great. Noah. He looked up. Langford's attorney called. Noah stared at him. Tell him I died. He wants to arrange a meeting. I'm dead. He said the family wants to apologize. Noah pulled the second lace tight. Then they can practice on each other. Outside, rain had started again. His uncle hugged him without warning and immediately complained that Noah smelled like institutional soap. The photographers shouted questions. Did Daniel Langford frame you? Are you suing? Did Ava Langford know you? How much money do you want? Noah kept walking. His truck was parked near the curb. The passenger window was now covered in plastic because police had cut part of the seal during evidence processing. Noah stopped beside it. A brown paper grocery bag rested on the seat. He looked at his uncle. What's that? Your aunt? Noah opened it. Milk, eggs, 6 oranges. He laughed before he could stop himself. His uncle looked relieved. Then Noah saw the envelope beneath them. Heavy cream paper. No return address. Inside was a handwritten note. Mr. Bennett, I was wrong about you before I knew enough to be wrong about you. That sentence does not fix anything. I understand that. If you are willing, I would like to apologize without lawyers present. Daniel Langford. Noah folded the note. His uncle leaned against the truck. What does he want? To apologize. Rich people always discover manners after discovery. Noah looked at the hospital across the street. He thinks that's what I'm mad about. What are you mad about? Noah returned the note to the envelope. I don't know yet. He did not attend the first meeting, or the second. Ava called him herself 12 days later. Noah almost hung up when she said her name. I know this is strange. It's been a strange month. I wanted to thank you. You did. There was a pause. I didn't. You're alive. That's enough. No, it isn't. Noah shifted the phone between his shoulder and ear while measuring baseboard in a vacant apartment. A circular saw whined in the next room. You don't owe me anything. That might make this easier for you? What? Pretending nobody owes anybody anything? Noah stopped measuring. That sounds like something rich people say right before offering money. Ava laughed. It was the first ordinary sound he had heard connected to her. No money. Good. My father wants to meet you. I know. He's miserable. That helps. He deserves that. Noah marked the trim with his pencil. You always talk about him like that. No. Usually I'm worse. Another pause. He didn't order anyone to put the watch in your truck. I know. He did create the atmosphere where somebody thought it would please him. Noah lowered the pencil. Ava's voice had changed. Less defensive. He's trying very hard not to understand the difference. That sounds expensive. This time she laughed harder, then apologized, because it hurt her ribs. Noah found himself smiling. 3 days later, he agreed to meet Daniel, not at Langford Meridian headquarters. Noah refused that immediately. They met at a diner in South Philadelphia at 9 in the morning. Daniel arrived early. He wore no tie. That seemed deliberate. Noah disliked it for being deliberate. Daniel stood when he entered. Mr. Bennett? Noah. Daniel nodded. Noah. They sat. A waitress poured coffee without asking. Daniel moved the sugar packets into a straight line beside his cup. Noah noticed because anxious people always found something small to control. I owe you an apology. Yes. Daniel seemed surprised. Noah stirred his coffee. Sorry, was I supposed to make that easier? No. Good. Daniel looked toward the window. I believed I was protecting my daughter. You put me in jail. I know. You called people. I called law enforcement officials because my daughter was unconscious. You called people before they knew anything. Daniel looked at him. Yes. The waitress returned. You boys eating? Noah ordered eggs and toast. Daniel said he was fine. The waitress pointed at him. You look like you need eggs. Noah covered his mouth with his coffee cup. Daniel ordered eggs. When she left, he almost smiled. Then he placed both hands flat on the table. I have spent most of my adult life being paid to act before everyone else is certain. Noah waited. Daniel continued. If a shipment disappears, if a system fails, if a competitor moves, hesitation costs money. Sometimes jobs, sometimes entire divisions. I wasn't a shipment, no. But you treated me like one. Daniel looked at the sugar packets. Yes. Noah had expected denial. The agreement irritated him more. You don't get points for saying yes. I'm not asking for points. Their food arrived. For several minutes they ate. Daniel cut his eggs with the edge of his fork as though knives were unnecessarily aggressive before 10. Finally, he said, I want to compensate you. Noah put down his toast. There it is. Not to buy your silence. What silence? For the damage. You mean money? Yes? No. Daniel frowned. No? No. You lost work. I'll get more. You were publicly accused. That part might take longer. Your legal expenses? Public defender. Daniel inhaled slowly. I am trying to make restitution. You're trying to make a number. What do you want? Noah looked at him. For once, Daniel Langford appeared to have asked a question without already preferring an answer. Noah picked up his coffee. I want you to remember how certain you were. Daniel did not move. That's it? No. But start there. 2 weeks passed, then Daniel called again. This time, he did not mention an apology. I have a position. Noah nearly ended the call. Daniel continued before he could. Not charity. That usually means charity. Our facilities division has been bleeding money for 18 months. Then hire an accountant. I have accountants. They keep finding numbers. That's terrible. I need somebody who notices physical problems before they become financial ones. Noah leaned against a half-finished doorway. What does that have to do with me? You crossed an empty street towards someone when every sensible instinct might have told you to keep walking. That's your interview process? No? Daniel paused. I also had someone review your work. Noah straightened. You did what? Your uncle provided references. He what? He likes me more than you do. That's a low bar. Daniel continued. You've supervised residential crews. You identify material waste. You've completed jobs under budget without cutting labor hours. You investigated me again. Yes. At least you're consistent. I'm offering assistant site operations manager at our Philadelphia distribution campus. Salary is $92,000. Benefits. Training. Noah stared at the unfinished wall. He made less than half that during a good year. No, Daniel was quiet. May I ask why? Because I don't want to spend the next 10 years wondering if everybody thinks I got hired because you put me in jail. That will last 6 months. You know that? No, but people are easily bored. Noah rubbed sawdust from his thumb. Daniel said, "Come for one interview." No. One. No. Then refuse after. I just refused before. Daniel sighed. For the first time, he sounded like somebody's tired father, rather than a CEO. Ava said you would do this. Noah stopped. What does Ava have to do with it? Very little, apparently. She told me if I mentioned her, you would hang up. Noah hung up. He attended the interview the following Monday. Not because of Daniel. That was what he told himself. The Langford Meridian Distribution Campus sat beside the Delaware River behind security fencing and acres of loading bays. Noah arrived 15 minutes early. Daniel was not there. A woman from operations walked him through automated sorting lines, maintenance corridors, and a warehouse roof where ponding water had stained the membrane around 3 drains. Noah crouched beside one. Who patched this? Contractor. When? April. He pressed the membrane. Water pushed beneath it. You paid twice. The manager looked at him. What? Somebody patched over wet insulation. It'll blister again. She stared at the roof. Noah stood. That wasn't part of the interview, was it? No. Good. He got the job. He did not accept immediately. He made Daniel remove one condition from the offer letter. The clause requiring executive approval for public statements concerning the incident. Daniel's lawyer objected. Daniel removed it. Ava returned to work 3 months later in Langford Meridian's corporate governance office, which Noah found mildly ridiculous given that she had nearly been poisoned while investigating corporate governance. They did not become best friends. They did not fall in love. Life was less cooperative than that. She sometimes visited the distribution campus and brought coffee he never asked for. He once repaired a broken kitchen drawer in her apartment and complained about the expensive cabinet hardware for 40 minutes. She discovered that he hated olives but ate them if they came free on pizza, because throwing away paid food offended him. He discovered she checked every drink placed in front of her before taking the first sip. Neither mentioned it. Daniel changed more slowly. At meetings, he still interrupted people. He still made decisions before everyone else. He still expected doors to open, but now, sometimes, they did not. A new internal investigations rule required independent review whenever executive family members were involved in an incident. Daniel had opposed the wording. Ava made him sign it anyway. One afternoon, nearly a year after the night on Dickinson Street, Noah stood in the distribution campus parking lot beside a damaged loading dock. A forklift operator had clipped the corner guard and bent a steel plate inward. Daniel arrived in shirt sleeves, carrying 2 coffees. You're becoming suspiciously accessible, Noah said. My assistant hates it. Daniel handed him one. Noah looked at the cup. Black? 2 sugars. You remembered? I write things down. They stood beside the dock. Workers moved around them. A truck reversed toward Bay 4, its warning alarm repeating in steady intervals. Daniel looked at the bent plate. How much? Why do you always ask that first? Because eventually somebody will. About 6,000 if we replace the assembly. And if we don't? Noah crouched and pointed beneath it. Fork channel's fine. We can cut the plate, weld a new face, repaint. How much? Maybe 1,100. Daniel nodded. Then he did something unusual. He waited. Noah looked up. What? Daniel glanced toward the river. Ava told me you walked past the place again. Noah stood. The street? Yes. Sometimes. Why? It's on the way to a supplier. Daniel looked unconvinced. Noah drank his coffee. The first time I went back, I looked for the orange. Daniel turned. Why? I don't know. Were they there? No. A forklift crossed between them. When it passed, Daniel was looking at the coffee in his hands. I still think about the watch. So do I. I keep wondering what I would have believed if they hadn't found it. Noah studied him. Daniel continued. I wish I could tell you I would have stopped. You probably wouldn't have. No. Daniel nodded once. Then he looked toward Noah. I'm sorry. The words no longer sounded prepared. Noah did not tell him it was okay. It wasn't. Instead, he pointed toward the loading dock. Hold that side. Daniel looked at the steel plate. What? I need to see how far it moves. I'm wearing office shoes. Then this will be educational. Daniel set his coffee down. He gripped the damaged plate. Noah pushed from the opposite side. The metal shifted half an inch and stuck. Again, Daniel adjusted his hands. They pushed. This time the plate moved far enough for Noah to see the mounting bracket behind it. There. Daniel released it. His palms were dirty. He looked at them with mild disbelief. Noah handed him a rag from his back pocket. Daniel wiped one hand, then stopped. He folded the rag once and gave it back. Across the lot, somebody called Noah's name. He turned. Ava stood near the administration entrance, holding a paper grocery bag against her hip. What's that? Noah called. She lifted the bag. Your mother says you still don't buy fruit unless someone supervises you. My mother talks too much. Ava reached inside and tossed something. Noah caught it. An orange. Daniel looked at the fruit in Noah's hand, then at his daughter. Ava tossed another to her father. Daniel nearly dropped it. Noah laughed. The truck at Bay 4 locked into the dock with a heavy, mechanical thud. Walk continued around them. Nothing had returned to the way it was before. Noah still avoided police lights when he could. Ava still checked her drinks. Daniel still sometimes reached for certainty too quickly and had to pull his hand back. But the three of them stood in the afternoon noise holding oranges beside a piece of damaged steel that did not need replacing after all.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story and want more like it, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video.